Married, but he lost his wife. He had a total nervous breakdown. Was in bed for 6 months. Right? Um, then he sought to become a speaker of the state legislature. He was defeated. Then he ran for the Senate of United States. He lost. He sought for the vice president nomination. He got the lowest votes possible. He ran for the US Senate. Again, he lost. In 1859, this guy was elected the President of the United States, right? Abraham Lincoln. So what I'm trying to tell you is any successful career has a lot of failures also written over it. Lot of failures written over it, right? And never give up. Right? I will tell you one story here. When I joined in accounts, as a CA, they wouldn't give me a job in finance. They said, you are more accountancy. Okay, I had to take accounts, right? My first job in finance was to raise 100 crores. Way back 1993, I'm talking about. First job was 30 crores and then it was 100 crores. 30 crores loan. So my boss gave me the file and he went off to US. So he said, you raised 30 crores from SIDB, Small Industries Development Bank of India. I had no clue. I had not borrowed 100 rupees in my life from anybody. Forget raising 30 crores from a bank. I did not know what to do, right? So I said, anyway, let me approach this guy. So he had forwarded me a card. He said, go and talk to this guy. I went to him. I told him, sir, I do not know anything about raising a loan. My job is at stake. You need to help me. So he said, I don't know why they send people like you to raise loan. Huh? Get out of my office. Okay. So I was waiting outside in the in the lobby. So afternoon, that guy went out. This guy was a deputy general manager in SIDB. In the afternoon, he went out. He saw me, but he didn't speak to me. He came back. He said, why are you still here, wasting your time? Go find the loan somewhere else. I'm not going to give you. Get lost from here, right? And he went back. Evening, 5 o'clock, I'm still there. I'm still waiting outside. So this guy comes and tells me, why are you waiting? I said, my problem is not solved. I mean, I can go back, but my problem is not solved. He said, it's your problem, it's not my problem. And then he went out again. I found from his secretary that he's going to come back by 7. I waited. So 7 o'clock, this guy comes. And then he says, you are very incorrigible, right? You don't get what I'm trying to say. Then he said, okay, but I like your perseverance. Come tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock with all the cash flows and funds flows, right? So that day morning, I finished everything at 2. Next day morning, I reached there. Then I told him, I don't know anybody at company law board to get the approvals. He said, go talk to so-and-so person. So he helped me out, right? He helped me out. That was the fastest loan ever raised within the group, within the Tata group. That was the fastest loan. 5 working days. 5 working days. Okay? And I had no clue how to raise it. Right? But I never gave up, right? What I'm trying to tell you guys is never give up. Sometimes in today also, we lose business deals, but I never give up even on a business deal, even after it's lost to a competition. After 5 years I've lost to the competition, still I go back and get the deal. Because if I believe that I should get the deal, I get the deal. You have to go, you should persevere. Never ever give up. You fail only when you give up. Till the time you are still in the race, okay, the deal may have gone, I'll get it back someday else, right? So believe in yourself, strongly believe in yourself. So I can recount various examples like this, but where you may get insulted, right? You may get pushed back, you may get told you're an imbecile, you're of no use, you don't know, why have you come here, all of that stuff, even as you try to do big things, right? I remember once I went to a State Bank of India general manager. So he says, are you sure? You hardly look even to have crossed 30. Are you sure you want to talk about a 300 crore loan? I said, yeah, I mean, if you want, otherwise you just lose the business. You decide what you want to have, I told him, right? But I annoyed him, I think. Yeah, I didn't go, I raised money from other places. Another time, not all solutions you have to find out. Another thing is in this, is not all solutions you need to find out. How many of you have heard about these car bookings are there? You remember when a car opens, you do the bookings, right? and money has to be paid to the car company. So that is called securitization. You can securitize those booking forms, right? But securitization as a product did not exist in 1992, 93. It had just probably come across, right? It was taught to me by a city banker. I said, I don't know how to raise it. So he taught me how to raise it, and that's how. So ask, right? You will get, as I said, beaten somewhere in the process. I got badly beaten because I didn't raise the loan in time and all of that stuff. But eventually we managed it, right? So you will find a lot of failures and a lot of beatings that you have even while you have your success stories, right? So don't give up. That was my message that I'm trying to give here, right? So be positive, right? Avoid negativity at all costs. There are like a lot of people who will tell you, who will blame each other, motivate. I mean, unsuccessful people just hate, blame, and complain. You will find there are two kinds of people in the world. One who will keep on complaining why things can't happen, this can't happen, that can't happen. Keep away from them. That's my only advice. It's of no use, right? Because even after listening to half an hour, you are where it started, right? So don't waste time, right? Always figure out what you can do to change things. Be positive and wanting to do things. Surround yourself with positive friends. There is most of the office, you will find something called politics in office. Some of you must have heard it. Some of you, so I won't say politics doesn't exist. Politics exists, right? And I won't say I never played it. I played a lot of politics. But I stopped politics when I was 31. I retired from politics at 31 in corporate. I didn't want to do that anymore. But I'll tell you the reason why. It takes away a lot of your energy, right? You're always thinking somebody else is trying to do this to you, therefore you would also want to give in payback in kind, right? Part of it is young blood, right? You'll feel and I think a lot of it comes with that Josh, right? So I think it's important not to even remotely have any of negative thoughts harboring or anything. And politics in office actually starts with people talking wrong things about other people or passing comments about other people. Just ignore. There will be times when you will have to vent. Everybody is human being. But you can vent in a small group with your close friends or over a weekend and then be done with it, right? Venting is required. You can't do away with venting. But you can't be constantly venting, right? I think 10-15 minutes of venting is allowed for everybody. But full day don't vent. Or half a day don't vent of your life. So I think that's very, very important. Always talk good things about people. If you don't have anything good to talk, don't criticize. It's of no use. Don't criticize people. You can criticize the process. Criticize the process. You can't say Mr. XYZ runs a very lousy immigration shop, right? He's very bad at visa management or very bad at HR management. Never say that, right? Point out, maybe you can say the background process check needs improvement, right? Can we reduce the time it takes to do a background check so that we do not lose the candidates? Rather than saying the background check, the person doing the background check is bad. Never, because then it doesn't make you any friends with that guy. And you may have to get the work done from the same person, right? So, as you grow up in corporate life, be very watchful of how you interact with people and what you say about people within the corporate this thing, right? Always point out what process needs to be improved, right? It doesn't mean that you should not have a stand, but you have a stand on the process rather than the person, right? I think this, if you are able to do this, you will succeed very well in life. At least in corporates, you will succeed very well, right? Because then everybody will only have good things to say about you. And always praise somebody. No, what is the problem? We are not generous with praise. You praise somebody, he'll feel happy about it. Tax thodi lagta hai uske liye, right? So it's good, right? Somebody has done something good, right? Another part of a corporate job, communication. I call it listening, but this is more more on the listening itself. We often hear, we don't listen. In any communication interaction, 70% of the time has to go in listening. If you listen well, you understood the person well, the person is also happy. Don't fiddle with a smartphone when somebody is talking to you, right? Probably when the other person is also of the millennial generation, fine, right? But if the other person is not from the millennial generation, the person can feel truly offended, right? It is very commonplace to speak and talk, to do and talk. It's okay. But even if the other person is doing it, but the other person is higher to in rank or others have in the office, listen. Give that respect, listen. Doesn't hurt at all. It will only win you brownie points. You can say this guy, he or she will go with a positive impression that you are listening, you are a good listener. And you will also learn a lot when you are listening. Right? That is why probably God has given us, 2 years, right? But listen well. Right? Communicate. Communication is I am doing a fabulous work, but nobody knows about it except me. Right? What is the use? It's of no use. You can work very hard, but nobody may know what you're doing. You can say, I have drawn a painting which I have fallen in love so much, but nobody else is talking good about the painting or whatever. Nobody knows about it. What is the use? Right? So you got to communicate who you are, what you've done, your accomplishments in the right forum. Unless you communicate, you may have achieved a lot of stuff. It's of no use. You can't say if something has to be happened to me, somebody should recognize. Nobody has a time here. Right? So it's important that if you still get recognized without this, then you're damn lucky. Right? But communication is very, very important. Silence is golden, but not always. Right? So therefore, communicate. Learn and change. As you go through your career, you will learn different things. Constantly learn. Learning should never stop, right? If you stop learning, you stop exercising certain parts of your brain, right? It's the most saddest thing that can happen. Keep on constantly learning, whether it's a foreign language, it's a new skill set, it's a new thing that has come out in the market. Read, learn. Don't stop that. If you stop, you stop learning, right? Don't do that, right? Always constantly learn new things, right? And change. Learn to adapt to change. A lot of people are not comfortable with change. As higher you go in your corporate career, nothing is well defined to you. Nobody tells me what my goals are, right? Nobody tells me what my goals are. I have to define my own goals. This is how much business I'll get. This is how much. And I have generally, most of the times, I have no clue how to achieve it. Right? Like today, somebody asked me, hey, what do you want to be in 2020? Right? So in 2020, I have written, in 2020, I want to be a $2.5 billion business. Right? So the next question, how are you going to get there? I said, I seriously don't know. I'm going to think about it. But I have written that 2.5 billion big on my board. Right? So today maybe I'm 5,000 crores, but 2.5 billion means I have got to be at 12,000 crores, right? So I said I've written that amount on my board, but I have no clue how I'm going to get it. We'll get it, right? But then the change is important. What should I do next? How will I get it, right? So this change is always important. Also, learning new skills is important. If you learn today, so much has become about social media, how to use the social media, how to use digital is very important, right, in your work. And therefore, this becomes very, very critical. This is another thing which you're going to lead very long in your life, even when you enter the corporate career, is something called perception. Okay? So there are two things that people in corporate will always evaluate. One is performance, second is potential. And potential is nothing but the way, what I think as a manager you can do. It doesn't matter what you think you can do. You can think about many things. But perception is very important. So you should know who's going to champion your promotion next. Who's going to sign on your increment letter? Who's going to decide your bonus? Do you know that, right? who's going to think? If it rains on your boss, it's going to rain on you. Huh? Otherwise, you don't exist for your boss. Period. End of story. You may say, I'm working very hard, but you may be running on this road. Boss is running on this road. Huh? Boss will say, hey, where are you? Here. Right? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So be very clear, right, what your boss's objectives are and how you're aligning to your boss's objectives. It doesn't matter, right? You can keep working hard, blaming everybody for it. Why I'm not got my this, why I'm not got it. Doesn't. Even after all this, still you don't get what you want, change. It's okay, right? But don't keep on cribbing about it. Change, right? But perception is important. What is perception? Perception is something which others form an opinion about you. After 5 interactions, 10 interactions, even 1 interaction, there is an opinion. I am standing here, you are all there. Higher you go, more people have perception about you. Today I have maybe 400 people having a perception about me. It may be very difficult for me to have perception of so many people, but so many people have perception about me. I may also have some perception. That's a different issue, but perception becomes important when it matters to your career, right? On a larger scale, politicians also play on perception, right? If you take it a notch above, big intelligent guy, whatever, right? Or do you want people to perceive as having a lot of money? What do you want people to perceive as? Be clear about it. So this is perception, and therefore there is what we think, what we do, what we say. Everything goes towards building the perception of who we are. And we contribute it. We control the perception. In fact, after some points in time in your life, you can control the way. Not everything you can control, but you can manage the perception. You can manipulate the perception. Perception is a very fine art. At a very high level, people use media to manipulate their perception. People use the web to manipulate the perception as to who they are, right? They may be somebody different, but who they are, what the people perceive, that is important, right? And this is is the most important thing, right? And people see what they want to see, and what people want to see never has anything to do with the truth, right? I may want to see something, and if, as long as the candidate has that, right? Do I perceive? And he talked about Mr. Ramakrishna talked about a very important thing, body language. Right? From body language, you can perceive the person to be approachable, not approachable. You can perceive the person to be high energy, low energy. You will make some perceptions based on body language, right? Based on whether the person smiles or doesn't smile, you may make a perception, right? Whether to work with that person or not. And imagine all of these are at play when you get into a corporate environment. These are all at play, right? You will get help, or people will work with you to the extent what they perceive about you. Perception is built over time. And if you recollect, one more slide I had put before, that is how your brand is also gets built. In fact, some people may wonder, what defines my compensation? What defines compensation? How do I judge whether somebody should get 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, half a crore? What decides the salary? One is competency. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, the ability of the employee to generate returns to the employer. Suppose you are giving 50,000 to the employee, you should be able to give him much more than that, 100 times, 200 times.
Agreed. But that is only after you are selected, right?
Yes, sir.
But how do you get selected in the first place?
You have to make good criteria, because if the employer wants to work in a particular organization, you should have a very good reason. Obviously, people just don't look for jobs.
No, agreed. As an employer, if I have to make a decision on a particular candidate, right?
So we need to first evaluate academic credentials, his personality credentials, then his willingness to accept change, the rules, regulations, everything. Everything should be out in the open. And there should be a mechanism to resolve disputes and all, because any form of this conflict will only hurt the company and everyone else.
So that's good. It's all good. But what you just said is from an employee perspective, as a potential employee.
Yes, sir.
That's
Sir,
not.
from employer perspective, sir, like for example, I say Volkswagen company. Sir, I believe you must be knowing Mr. Ferdinand PH. He is considered the Hitler of the automobile industry. He literally crushed the entire the automobile rivals in Europe. Take Fiat, Renault, Nissan, and all other companies. They cursed him for putting them out of business. Because Volkswagen company, sir, they have subsidiaries like Skoda, Seat, Porsche, Audi. So the company has sister brands. So because of the sister brand rivalry, the other brands are getting affected. They even had complaints against the EU, but still we prevailed. And the employee selection process is very nice. You have to obey what they say. That's it. Nothing more. No room for dissent, no room for disobedience, nothing.
Yeah.
Even countries like China, sir, it is considered to be one of the top places for manufacturing, even today. Many people, not only manufacturing, everything, their military equipment, anything, they're number one.
No. What was your question though? No, making good points, but what was your question? Yeah. So where I'm coming from is, from an employer's perspective, its perception becomes important, right? So what do I perceive, right? No, you can have a seat. No, it's perfectly fine. You had a point to make. I think the point you were trying to make was there are a lot of companies which function in a very autocratic manner, right? And therefore, how difficult it is maybe for you to have a view there and all of that stuff, right? Because I didn't understand the question that you were trying to ask. If you can, okay, maybe we can take it offline, but if you can frame your question, that will be good. So perception, engaging stakeholders, very, very important, and be very clear who's going to determine, as I said, what matters to the stakeholders who are going to decide your career. So that's very important. That's the learning I would want to leave you on perception. Then live, that's the last slide, right? Don't forget to live even as you work very, very hard. Enjoy your life, right?